Listen, I'm going to tell you something that's going to scare the hell out of you, but somebody needs to say it. Your 401k is not going to save you. The American retirement system is broken, and if you think that little contribution you're making every paycheck is going to let you retire at 65, you're living in a fantasy. I've been managing money for over 40 years. I've seen multiple market crashes, and I've watched millions of Americans wake up at 70 years old realizing they're broke. And you know what the worst part is? They all thought they were doing the right thing. Here's a number that should terrify you. The median 401k balance for Americans aged 55 to 64 is $65,000. $65,000? Do you know how long that lasts in retirement? About 3 years if you're lucky. And that's assuming you don't get sick, assuming healthcare costs don't explode, assuming inflation doesn't eat away at every dollar you saved. You're not preparing for retirement, you're preparing for poverty. I'm Kevin O'Leary, and I've built my fortune by understanding one simple truth that most Americans refuse to accept. The traditional retirement model is dead. Social Security is bankrupt, 401k plans are inadequate, and if you're counting on either of these to fund your golden years, you're going to spend those years working at Walmart greeting customers because you can't afford not to. But before I tell you exactly why your retirement plan is a disaster and what you need to do about it, I need you to do something for me right now. If you're serious about your financial future, if you want to learn the hard truths that no financial advisor will tell you because they profit from your ignorance, then hit that subscribe button. Join this community of people who understand that comfortable retirement isn't a right, it's something you have to fight for. And if this video saves you from financial disaster in your old age, smash that like button and let the algorithm know this message needs to reach more people. Let me start with the first massive lie you've been told about retirement. The lie that your 401k is enough. Here's the math that nobody wants to show you. Financial experts say you need 80% of your pre-retirement income to maintain your lifestyle. If you're making $60,000 a year right now, you need $48,000 annually in retirement. Sounds reasonable, right? Wrong. That calculation assumes your healthcare costs stay the same, assumes your housing costs are paid off, assumes inflation doesn't exist, and assumes you never want to travel or enjoy your retirement. The reality is you need 100% of your current income, maybe more, because retired life is expensive life. You've got time to spend money. You've got health problems that need attention. You've got a roof that needs repairs and a car that needs maintenance, and you're not earning a paycheck anymore. Every expense comes out of your savings, and those savings better be substantial or you're in trouble. So let's do the real math. If you need $60,000 a year in retirement and you want that money to last 25 years, assuming a conservative 4% withdrawal rate, you need $1.5 million saved. $1.5 million. How many people do you know who have 1.5 million in their 401k? I'll tell you how many. Less than 2% of Americans. The other 98% are going to work until they die because they have no choice. And here's where it gets worse. The average 401k contribution is pathetic. Most people contribute just enough to get the company match, thinking they're being smart. The national average contribution rate is about 7% of income. 7%. You could contribute 7% of your income for 40 years and still not have enough to retire. The math doesn't work. It never worked. It was never designed to work. But maybe you're thinking, Kevin, I'm contributing more than 7%. I'm maxing out my 401k. Good for you. The maximum 401k contribution in 2026 is $23,500 if you're under 50 and $31,000 if you're over 50 with catch-up contributions. Let's say you max out your 401k every single year for 30 years, earn a solid 8% annual return, and never touch the money. You'll have about $2.7 million. That sounds good until you realize inflation has been eating away at that purchasing power for 3 decades. That $2.7 million might buy you what $1.3 million buys today. You're still cutting it close. And that's assuming everything goes perfectly. That's assuming the stock market delivers 8% returns for 30 straight years without a major crash that wipes out half your savings right before you retire. That's assuming your company doesn't go bankrupt and take your 401k matching with them. That's assuming you never lose your job and have to tap into your retirement savings early. How many assumptions are you comfortable betting your future on? Now let me tell you about the second massive problem with the American retirement system. Social Security is a Ponzi scheme, and it's running out of money. The Social Security Trust Fund is projected to be depleted by 2034. That's less than 10 years away. When that happens, benefits will be automatically cut by about 25%. So if you're counting on $2,000 a month from Social Security, you might get $1,500. And that's if the system doesn't collapse entirely. But here's what really makes me angry. Politicians have been lying to you about Social Security for decades. They've been taking your money, spending it on other programs, and replacing it with IOUs. The Social Security Trust Fund isn't a bank account with your money sitting in it. It's a filing cabinet full of government bonds, promises to pay you back with money they don't have. It's the biggest fraud in American history, and you're the victim. And don't even get me started on the people who think Social Security is their retirement plan. The average Social Security benefit is about $1,900 a month. Try living on $1,900 a month. Try paying for housing, food, transportation, healthcare, and everything else you need on $1,900 a month. It's impossible. Social Security was never meant to be your primary source of retirement income. It was supposed to be a safety net, a supplement to your other savings. But millions of Americans are treating it like their entire retirement plan, and they're going to be devastated when reality hits. You know what's coming next, and it's going to be brutal. We're about to see the largest retirement crisis in American history. The baby boomers are retiring in record numbers, about 10,000 people every single day, and most of them haven't saved nearly enough. They're going to flood the job market, competing with younger workers for part-time positions because they can't afford to stop working. They're going to downsize their homes, move in with their children, apply for government assistance, and fundamentally change what it means to be old in America. And it's not just the boomers. Generation X is in even worse shape. They've lived through multiple recessions, dealt with stagnant wages, watched their home values crash, and many of them started saving for retirement later because they were too busy trying to survive. The median retirement savings for Gen X households is about $40,000, $40,000 for an entire generation that's supposed to start retiring in the next 15 years. It's a catastrophe waiting to happen. But here's where it gets personal, and this is where I need you to really listen. If you're under 50 and you think this problem doesn't affect you, you're wrong. You're going to be supporting all these people who didn't save enough for retirement. Your taxes are going to go through the roof to pay for increased Social Security benefits, expanded Medicare, more nursing home subsidies, more government programs for seniors who can't afford to take care of themselves. The government is going to take money out of your paycheck to support millions of people who failed to plan properly. And that's assuming the government has the money to tax. With the national debt exploding, with deficits as far as the eye can see, with politicians who refuse to make hard decisions about spending, there's a real possibility that the entire system collapses. What happens to your 401k when the dollar crashes? What happens to your retirement savings when inflation runs at 20% a year? What happens when the government decides that private retirement accounts are unfair and they nationalize all 401k plans for the greater good? I know this sounds extreme, but look at what's happening around the world. Look at countries that have seized private pensions to fund government operations. Look at currencies that have become worthless overnight. Look at retirees in other countries who worked their whole lives, followed all the rules, saved money in government-approved accounts, and ended up with nothing because the system failed. The third major problem, and this one is going to make you sick, is healthcare costs in retirement. Medicare doesn't cover everything. It doesn't cover dental work, eye care, hearing aids, most long-term care. The average 65-year-old couple retiring today will spend over $300,000 on healthcare costs during retirement. $300,000 that comes directly out of your retirement savings. And that number assumes healthcare inflation stays at current levels, which is laughable. Healthcare costs have been rising faster than general inflation for decades. Prescription drugs that cost $50 a month today might cost $200 a month when you retire. A nursing home that costs $8,000 a month now might cost $15,000 a month in 20 years. These costs will destroy your retirement savings faster than any stock market crash. But let me tell you what nobody else will tell you about healthcare and retirement. The biggest risk isn't the cost of staying healthy, it's the cost of getting sick. One major illness, one accident, one diagnosis of cancer or Alzheimer's or any chronic condition, and your lifetime of savings disappears. I've seen people with million-dollar 401k balances lose everything to medical bills. I've seen families forced to sell their homes to pay for a parent's care. The American healthcare system is designed to extract every dollar you have before you die. And here's the cruel irony. The healthier you live, the longer you're going to live, the more money you're going to need for retirement. If you take care of yourself, exercise, eat right, avoid smoking and drinking, you might live to 90 or 95. That's 30 years of retirement you need to fund. Instead of needing money for 20 years, now you need money for 30 years. Your retirement savings need to last 50% longer because you made good health choices. Only in America is living longer a financial penalty. Now, I'm going to tell you something that's going to make financial advisors hate me, but I don't care because it's the truth. The 4% withdrawal rule is garbage. Financial planners tell you that you can safely withdraw 4% of your retirement savings each year and the money will last forever. This rule was created in the 1990s during the greatest bull market in history. It assumes stock market returns that we haven't seen in decades and probably won't see again. In today's low-interest environment, with bonds paying nothing and stocks trading at historically high valuations, you should plan on withdrawing no more than 2.5% or 3% of your savings annually if you want the money to last. That means if you thought you needed $1 million to retire, you actually need $1.5 million or more. All those retirement calculators online that tell you how much to save, they're using outdated assumptions that are going to leave you broke. Here's what you need to do, and pay attention because this could save your financial life. First, stop thinking about retirement as something that happens at 65. Start thinking about financial independence as something you work toward your entire career. You need to save and invest aggressively from the moment you start working until the moment you stop. Not 7% or 10% of your income. I'm talking about 20% or 25% of your income, maybe more. I know that sounds impossible. I know you're thinking, Kevin, I can barely pay my bills now. How am I supposed to save 25% of my income? And my answer is simple. You find a way. You get a second job, you start a side business, you move to a cheaper apartment, you drive an older car, you cut every unnecessary expense out of your life because your future depends on it. The people who successfully build wealth understand that sacrifice today means freedom tomorrow. The people who spend everything they earn today are choosing to work forever. Which group do you want to be in? Second, you need to invest outside your 401k. Don't put all your retirement eggs in one basket that the government controls. Open a Roth IRA and max that out. Invest in taxable brokerage accounts. Buy dividend-paying stocks that generate income. Purchase real estate that produces rental income. Build multiple streams of wealth that don't depend on your employer's 401k plan or government programs. Third, you need to plan for healthcare costs specifically. Consider a health savings account if you're eligible. HSAs are the best retirement account that nobody talks about. You get a tax deduction when you contribute, the money grows tax-free, and you can withdraw it tax-free for medical expenses. After age 65, you can use HSA money for any purpose, just like a traditional IRA. It's better than a 401k in many ways. Fourth, you need to consider working longer, not because you have to, but because you choose to. Every extra year you work is one less year your retirement savings need to fund, and one more year those savings can grow. If you love what you do, if you can transition to part-time work, if you can find meaningful ways to stay productive, working into your 70s might be the difference between financial security and financial disaster. And finally, you need to have realistic expectations about what retirement looks like. The idea that you're going to stop working completely at 65 and spend the next 25 years playing golf and traveling the world is a fantasy for most people. Start planning for a retirement that includes some work, some income generation, some productive activity that contributes to your financial well-being. I know this message is hard to hear. I know it's scary to realize that everything you've been told about retirement planning is inadequate. But here's the good news. You still have time to change course if you start now. You can still build real wealth if you're willing to make real sacrifices. You can still achieve financial independence if you stop making excuses and start taking action. The retirement crisis is real, it's coming, and it's going to devastate millions of Americans who thought they were prepared. Don't be one of them. Take control of your financial future today. If this video has opened your eyes to the retirement disaster that's coming, I need you to take action right now. Hit that like button and share this video with everyone you know who's counting on a 401k to save them. You could literally save someone from a lifetime of poverty. Subscribe to this channel because I'm going to continue bringing you the hard truths about money and investing that nobody else will tell you. The financial industry makes money when you follow their inadequate advice. I make money by teaching you how to think like the wealthy. Drop a comment below and tell me, what's your retirement plan? How much have you saved? What are you doing differently after watching this video? Let's build a community of people who understand that retirement security isn't guaranteed, it's earned. Your future self is depending on the decisions you make today. Don't let that person down. Start building real wealth now because time is running out and the retirement crisis is already here. Now get out there and take control of your financial destiny.